Germans can drink. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Montana and I did an exchange year in Germany this past year. Today my video theme is the alcohol culture in the US versus in Germany, and I just wanted to start off very openly with a disclaimer that while I was on exchange, I was part of the Congress Bundestag Youth Exchange Program and we were not allowed to drink. It was in the rules that even though the drinking age in Germany was 16 and the majority of our participants were above 16, we still were not supposed to drink while on program. So although I cannot speak from personal experience, I was still allowed to go to parties and to hang out with friends and experience the German culture. So I do believe that I can still talk on this subject, and then just having grown up in the US, I can talk on that subject as well. So the basic underlining theme here that everyone probably knows by clicking on this video is that the drinking age in Germany is much lower than in the US. It's actually 16 in Germany for wine and beer, and then to buy spirits and heavier alcohol like liquor, it's 18, versus in the US the drinking age for the entire country is 21. In Germany there is a much different culture when it comes to alcohol. It's not just for a big party scene, it's actually part of the German culture with beer and schnapps, and in general alcohol is more ingrained in the culture, I would say there. For example, there are large beer houses and everyone thinks of Oktoberfest when they think of Germany. So I think that this is an interesting video topic just to have a little conversation about, because it's such a difference between Germany and the US. I'm going to start out about why I think alcohol culture is very smart in Germany, and then I'm going to go into trying to explain briefly why the drinking age is 21 in the US. When it comes to Germany and drinking, kids learn their tolerance from a younger age and they don't see it as some forbidden, illegal thing. It makes kids honestly more responsible because they grow up seeing their parents drink and they grow up knowing more about like what drinking is, so that they don't get into as much trouble when they get older. For example, a lot of teens have parties in Germany with drinking because they are able to buy drinks themselves, and they can also go clubbing. A lot of clubs are open to 16-year-olds, some are open to 18. Both of these are under 21. However, in the US, because you have to be 21 to drink, a lot of clubs are 21 and up or 18 and up, but then there's really no purpose of going when you're 18. Well, there is some purpose, but not a lot of purpose, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway, having a younger drinking age in Germany makes more sense because it makes kids more responsible, and it also means that there aren't any fakes. I know sometimes people were saying that maybe there are fakes in Germany to try to say that you're 16, but I highly doubt that, and I've never seen one. When I say fakes, I mean fake IDs, because in the US a lot of students buy fake IDs and a lot of young people buy fake IDs because they want to try to come off as older and be able to drink, which is very illegal. Like, buying a fake ID is very illegal, and if you get caught with it, you can get charged a lot. And also, like, I think it can be counted as identity theft, so that's a big thing. And unfortunately a lot of people do that because they just see it as the only option if they want to party and drink, and you can't buy alcohol unless you're 21. In the US, it's a big thing for parties to get busted by cops, and the cops come and kids are running, and it's just like those movies really, where there's alcohol and everyone's trying to hide it, and the red Solo cups, and people are like flying out the doors just trying to get away. And that's really crazy. Like, living in Germany, I would never ever see that happening, because parties, like, parents allow the kids to have parties and they monitor what the kids are doing and they think it's okay, and the parents are willing to pick their kids up from these parties at late hours of the night, like 12 and 1 and 2, because they grew up doing that and they want their kids to experience the same things. and they see how it will shape them rather than the kids like sneaking out and trying to do all these illegal things on their own. And then lastly, like, Germans can drink. They know how to drink and they know their tolerance, they know how much they can handle and what they can handle. Versus a lot of people in the US, at least, I haven't entered college yet, so I can't really speak on this, but I know that a lot of kids go to college and they have never drank in high school, or they just go crazy because there's no parents there. And when I say college, I mean university. Sorry, I always have to disclaim that. They go to university and they just drink way too much. They get alcohol poisoning, or they get sick, or they black out because they just never had the experience of drinking before. And although some families are different, I cannot speak for every family. Some people in the US do allow their children to drink, at least at home, at a younger age, like at 18. Versus other families are much more strict because it is illegal and you can get charged, and if you're caught with a blood alcohol content of anything higher than 0 in some states, then you will get fined and arrested. So it's a very serious topic in the US. It's also something very cultural because Europe in general has more of a drinking culture, and it's been around for ages. Everyone knows that Europe you kind of associate with beer and drinking, and wow, like at least in the US, when you think of Europe, a lot of teens and like young people just think of like, oh wow, like everyone there drinks, right? And that was one of the questions that I got when I was telling people I was going to Germany, because they would just automatically think of beer. In the US, the drinking culture isn't as, I want to say stark, but I'm pretty sure that's a German word. Stark means strong, but I don't know. It's just different in the US. It's hard to explain exactly why, but I did watch this very good Vox video recently that was trying to explain why the drinking age in the US is 21, and I'll definitely include that in the description box below if anyone wants to see the video, because I'm sure I will not give an perfect description like they did. But a lot of the drinking age in the US has to do with roads and with driving. And what this video was basically trying to explain was that previously in the US, each of the 50 states had their own drinking age, and it ranged from like 18 to 21. But then there were a lot of platforms and policies against drunk driving because people in the US drive more and they tend to drive drunk. And so that was a big problem, and a lot of the people who were lobbying against drunk driving and trying to make a change, they decided that increasing the drinking age would decrease the number of drunk drivers. What happened was the president said that he was going to withhold the tax money or the revenue for highway construction and for road construction if a state did not make their drinking age 21, because at the time the drinking age was determined by the state. And what happened was these states really needed that money for their roads, and therefore they increased their drinking age, and then eventually the whole drinking age became 21. But this is all from the video, by the way, so if you need a better explanation, please watch that. The main reason for the US switching to this drinking age of 21 was to say that we don't want drunk driving and we don't want all these people getting killed, because in the US, when people drink and when teens drink, they do not make responsible decisions and then they go and drive. And I think that is very prevalent. I know for a fact that there are plenty of people in my high school who have participated in drinking and driving or have done this, and it's really, really sad and unfortunate. I think they do it because they don't want to tell their parents they're drinking, and they're afraid their parents will say no. And so they think it's their only solution. Basically, we need a cultural reset, but I don't know if that will happen. And at this point, it makes more sense for the US to have switched to this higher drinking age because we do drive way more than in Europe. And another example I can give of this is that in Europe, or at least where I lived in Germany, there was an entire bus system. So people could even take these buses late at night at like 12 or 1 a.m. and take the buses home, so they don't have to drive, and they could have been drinking. Versus in the US, we don't have a bus system in most places, and it's just not as feasible as it would be in Europe. I hope all of these points make sense to you guys. I'm not saying I'm for one or the other. I think that the drinking age in Germany is very beneficial to the culture and to growing up there, and I think it'd be really cool for my children to grow up there. This is kind of always my message. It's that I see all of these differences in Germany, and I think that they're amazing and that they are so smart and just great decisions, but the US is such a different country that I don't know if we could actually have those same policies. The culture around drinking is not the same as in Europe. And another example of this is just recently, at least in Virginia, they changed the smoking age, or the age to buy like cigarettes and e-cigarettes and Juuls, vapes, all that kind of stuff. They changed it to 21. This is kind of following in the footsteps of changing the drinking age, because previously you only had to be 18. I think the big argument against the US drinking age being 21 is that people are supposed to enlist for the military at 18. You can vote at 18, but you still can't drink one beer. It's a little hypocritical in the eyes of some people, but I hope this kind of just explained why our country moved towards a drinking age of 21. And like I said, I probably did not do the best job explaining. There's a better video that explains it very thoroughly. That's in the comment section below. But I want to hear back what you guys think about the drinking age. If you think that it would be successful in the US if we tried to switch the drinking age to something lower, if you think that it should stay the way it is, or just whatever your opinions are about drinking in general in the US and in Germany. Sorry, I was just kind of rambling on in this a lot, but I find it very interesting. It was just a very different aspect of my exchange year that I could see and understand from both sides. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. Like I said, please leave me your opinion in the comment section below, and hopefully you tune in next time for another video and little chat with me. Thank you so much, and tschüss!